From access tax to toy vendor, yeah, we break through. Unbox the fire, showcase the find. Collectors worldwide, all one of a kind. ToyLeet, we set the pace. Elite with the heat in the plastic race. ToyLeet, not just a name, we're the culture, the vibe, the collecting flame. Click, snap, pose, it's more than display. We stack with style, redefining play. Custom builds, epic drops, from stream to shelf, we never stop. ToyLeet, it's not just toys, it's legacy we stack. ToyLeet's the movement, and we're never looking back.
Whoa!
Hey.
It's been a minute. How's
Hey,
it
what's
going,
up?
dude?
What's up? Doing good, man. What's
How's it
happening?
going? Good, man. Good. Living the life, dude. I'm seeing comments. Oh, there they go. I was gonna say comments I see coming in, but they weren't showing me any text. They're showing up now. So
Yeah, they're slow for some reason. I'd like to just
awesome.
make a statement to what Matthew's saying here. First of all, hello, Matthew. Thanks for stopping in. But secondly, yeah, we're actually on the air. We're just that good that we don't have to be on the air every night like Punk, so people, they won't forget us. So that's why Punk's on all the time, because he's got to keep that face out there.
I think the saying is quality over quantity.
Yeah, there you go.
And that's how we do it here.
Yeah, that's how we roll. Thanks, Matthew.
Awesome. Good deal. Yeah, you too, man. You too, Matt. Good deal.
So, anything
Howdy,
going on this
man.
last couple weeks?
You can see some lights up there in the back.
Yeah, look at you go.
Yeah.
New setup.
Yeah, it's coming along, man. It's coming along progress.
Is the actual
1% better every day,
construction
I
all
guess.
done?
I
Painting
gotta
and the
do
walls?
this. I gotta do the ceiling, but the painting and the walls, all that stuff's in place. The electrical's all run to the back because that rear wall there didn't have any electrical on it because that's like outside. That's the wall, like
That's
through
brick
the
wall,
basement
concrete wall, or whatever.
Yeah, brick wall. Yeah, but there's a wall on it, but we didn't have electrical run to that side, so I had to run some electrical there, and the wall that I'm against on this side had to run electric all through there to handle all of the monitors.
You're
the
just going to
space.
do a drop ceiling, right? So that's really not that big of a deal.
I'm not actually going to do a drop ceiling in the traditional sense of a drop ceiling. I don't want to lose this space, so I've actually done some research, and what I'm going to do is I saw some videos like where they have these T-joists for the framing that people have had. Unfortunately, my house doesn't have that, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some like 1x4, and I'm going to run them straight down, and then I can just take drywall and put it up in there, like make it a little bit shorter than the gap between each one of the studs.
So you're basically going to make a drop ceiling that fits up in there with tiles, kind of.
That's like very tight, exactly,
Yeah.
and it'll be drywall. That way, if it gets damaged, I can still move it. But if it gets damaged, it's relatively inexpensive to replace, and it'll give a little bit more sound barrier up there. Because I'm going to put some I'm not insulation, but some soundproofing foam in there.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna glue it down to the inside of it, but it'll be easy. And then I'm gonna put some can lights up there, so I have a little bit better lighting down here.
There you go.
But that's that, and some doors on the water closet over here is about all that I have left on this side. And then on the other side of the wall, directly opposite of these monitors, is the factory now. And I'm just moving a couple things around and rerunning the ventilation so that I can have.
What's up, Jeff? Jeff says you should just put a Bigfoot in the background since it's blurry.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it'll be unblurry when it gets cleaned up a little bit. I will unblur it once I get it cleaned up a little bit. It's still a little messy back there, so I do blur it out for that reason. But otherwise, man, been a lot of ordering stuff for Christmas, getting ready for the holidays.
I will say my Christmas shopping's done. How about you?
Oh, good deal.
I have some Christmas. I have some stocking stuffers to buy for the kids and all that, but nothing. That's just the candy and the gum and shit like that.
I think everything's done. I gotta do one more run and check the list. There was a couple things actually. Kids were doing their list tonight, and we were having hot chocolate. We watched Elf. So before I came down here. I think we got everything in order. I made a couple extra orders last night or this evening. A couple things that I realized I needed to pick up, but I think we're good. About 99% there.
And did you get anything for yourself this last week? Any pickups? Nothing?
I did get one thing that came in. Hold on. I did get one thing that came in. There was like a super cheap deal online a while ago, so I ended up snagging this Ultimate Rollins
Nice.
Ultimate Edition from WWE. I did not have him in an Ultimate form. This isn't my favorite gear, but at the price point for the fan takeover figure and being an Ultimate, I really couldn't.
Yeah.
I really couldn't pass it up.
Luke wanted a couple of Mandalorians to just customize, like
Oh,
he's
cool.
been painting and practicing painting and shit like that. So
Yeah.
I went on Big Bad and they had like Mandalorian, but more like Boba Fett.
I'm sorry. Are you
What's
there?
that? Yeah, I'm here.
You're good
Head
now.
out.
You're good now. Sorry.
Okay.
Maybe it was on my end.
Yeah, it's like the regular Boba Fett type of armor, but Big Bad had them on sale for like $8 or $9, so I picked him up a couple of those. I was like, for that price, I can't beat it.
Yeah. No, that's awesome.
But I did get
Good deal, yeah.
I did get a couple cool things in. I will show them off now. I got the Red Shadows Wolf Trooper from Skeletron, which is perfect for our discussion tonight of indie toys.
Oh, Red Shadow from
Yep.
Skeletron, right?
Yep, Red Shadows from Skeletron.
Okay.
So I got the Red Shadows regular version, and then I picked up the Red Shadows Jungle Wolf version.
And these are their first. These are some of their first 1/12 scale, right?
Yep. Yeah, they're pretty.
What are your thoughts on those?
The figures are solid, dude. And, he's got the helmet actually goes over the head, so it's not.
Okay.
It's not it's a different head, and it fits nice. I mean, it's snug. It doesn't. You don't have to fight it to get it on or off. But I mean, I had this guy balancing on one leg for about 2 weeks, and
that's awesome.
Never tipped over, never fell down, never gave out. He's still solid as hell. Comes with a couple, comes with like a rifle blaster, a pistol, and then a backpack, and a couple other accessories, extra hands, and the usual stuff, right? But yeah, solid figures. I'm really happy with them.
What do those run on a price point? Do you get them from Big Bad or?
No, I ordered them directly from Skeletron when they opened them up.
Okay.
On that couple, I think it was not last Friday, the Friday before last.
Okay.
I think they were like 35 or 30, between 35 and 40.
So the expected price for an independent toy line?
Yeah, standard price for that type of figure at this point in time.
Good deal. Good deal. Yeah, man. I'm gonna have a ton of stuff to talk about after the holidays because
yeah, no doubt.
Son of Wonder's list was pretty long, and even though they aren't technically mine, there'll be a ton of stuff that we look at together, I'm sure.
Yes.
So that's cool.
I have some of that kind of stuff coming in too. So.
Good deal. Good deal. But other than that, I didn't get anything. So would you say that was that your toilet segment?
Oh yeah, and I would definitely
goes up or down.
I'd put that up on the shelf, no doubt. It's
they look like they'd fit in really good with your monster forces, like another military support faction.
Remember that the like futuristic cowboy I built on the space horse bike thing?
Oh yeah.
So yeah. I'm gonna fit them in with that, and I got some of those. That new figure line coming from it's on Big Bad Toy Store too. Shit, I can't remember.
The Omega?
No, it's not. It's not one of the Big Bad Workshop ones. It's from Acid Rain, the 1/12 scale Acid Rain figures.
Oh, okay. Yes.
They got like 4 different figures. I ordered 2 of those, so I'm going to kind of build like a little futuristic, type of thing for them.
I'm interested to see how the plastic is on those.
Yeah, me too, because I know you and I both had experience with the 1/18 ones, and they weren't really all that great. So
yeah,
I'm interested. That's why I only ordered 2 of the 4 because I was like, I'll try them out before I,
Lessons learned on some of those in the past.
Thanks, Frank. Frank says they are $38.99. Okay. I think that says $38, $39.99. Yep. I can't read it. I'm blind.
No, you're right.
Today.
Do you want to hit the chat up?
Yeah, let's hit the chat up.
You there?
We already said hi to Matthew, but we'll say hi to Matthew again. And after you're done watching us, gone over to Pop Blender's channel and watch the Evening Blend with Matthew and Pop Blender. Ian, Mudhorn Station's with us. Mana Mana, what's up, Ian? How's things across the pond? And Nolan's up in the Great White North of Canada. What's up, Nolan? And we got Jeff from Skunkworks Studios. Let's fucking go. What's up, Jeff? And Plastic Skulls here. What's up, Action and Mr. Wonderful and everyone else? What's up, Plastic Skulls? Yes, the Agents of Omega. I am so ready for Agents of Omega. That's the new adventure series line that was featured on the Toy Collector magazine.
That's the one that's being done by Big Bad Studios, right?
Yeah, that's Big Bad Workshop.
Yeah, Big Bad Workshops. Yeah.
Jeff saying the John Cena Rogan podcast was great. I didn't catch that.
That was awesome. I mean, we want to go into wrestling. We could get all of our viewers kicked off the show, but yeah, I will say that
we will be here till 1 o'clock in the morning listening to you talk.
I will keep it quick. I will keep it brief. But yes, I did enjoy Saturday night's main event. I did not care for the ending. Yes, I think he should have lost. I do not think he should have tapped out. That said, I watched a bunch of shows over the week leading up to this week. The Joe Rogan, the Pat McAfee, number of different places John Cena appeared on over the course of the week leading up to the show. I hated John Cena. I liked John Cena when he first came out and he was doing like the word life stuff. Yeah. And I hated him because he was just obnoxious for the next 22 years or whatever it's been. And then the last few weeks, I have a different appreciation for him.
I always
a little bummed out to see him go.
I always respected him as the wrestler and what he was doing for the actual wrestling world, But as a character, he was an annoying pain in the ass, right?
Annoying. He did, and the thing was, there's a lot of things that I know he did in the background that bothered me over the years that he did to hold others back, I think, and things he should have done differently. But again, he's done. I don't have to worry about him in the ring anymore. He's a bum. He retired.
I'll be sad when the Viper retires. That's when I'll cry.
Yeah, that'll be a sad one. I mean, I don't think he's too far off, but
nope.
We'll see.
But that said, we got Mendoza with us saying, "What's up,
Mendoza?
What's up, Mendoza?" And as we said, Frank DeManu's here. What's up, Frankie?
Hey, Frank.
Let's see. Is anybody else here? Scrolling. And Jeff agreeing with you. I believe you're talking about Cena. Yep.
Oh, okay.
And that is it, man. That is it.
Good deal. Well, then.
Oh wait. We just had a late pop in. Let's say hi to this.
Oh, we had a sighting. Did we have a sighting?
We had a late pop in by Mr. Jim Largo. What's up, Largo?
Hope you're doing good. Hope your bar venture is the last thing I saw. I hope that's going well.
Yes.
That said, what are we? We're the ToyLeet. He's Ed Axion Figs. I'm the Mr. Wonderful. We get together typically twice a month, except for in the month of December, which just so happens to be the month we're in. So this month we are here one time. But we get together. We talked about the past plastic passion, or the passion for plastic that we have. Toys and action figures and the adjacent. This could be comics, it could be, movie media, it could be other things related to that. In this case, we focus on independent toys, which ties directly into our main topic tonight, and that's what we do. We get together and we talk about a main topic, but we also talk about some of our pickups. We basically shoot the shit. We talk about, something that is good that goes on the shelf, as Ed talked about previously with his... what were they called? Skeletron figures, and whether it goes down the toilet or whether it's ToyLeet and gets thrown up on the shelf. And then we also talk about our SFTC, which is our shout out from the Crick, which is the segment we do to shout someone or somebody or some group of people that are in the community doing something cool. And then what we do is we talk about the weekly news.
That too.
And the weekly news is, it's the noise within the toy community. What's happening? The news around independent toys. If you want to talk your Hasbros and your Mattels, your big guys, go over on Monday night. Fall asleep for 2.5 hours. You'll hear a little bit about it. A lot of McFarlane's, a lot of Batman's, things like that. And Punk with Toys does a great job talking about that stuff. But we focus on the independent toy lines, the folks that are almost in the community a lot of times. We'll talk more about that actually in the main topic tonight, which happens to be where are we at? That happens to be the main point of the show tonight, which is our independent is greater than mainstream, or I think we referred to this one as indie revolution. Why we're choosing small creators over the big brands, and we'll dive in as to why we are spending our dollars and supporting and promoting independent creators as opposed to some of those bigger box brands like your Hasbro, your Mattels, even your Jada Toys, some of those other, if they're in your toys, your toy stores like, Targets, Walmarts, it's probably not something we're going to spend a ton of time talking about on this show. But in this topic, we will talk about why we like indie over some of those. With that said, I'm going to go ahead and, Ed, I'm going to throw it over to you here when I find the right button.
Button. Who's got the button?
Down by the creek where the water flows, we're shouting out to those who know. Spreading joy, sharing love, ToyLeet fam, you rise above. Shout out from the creek, you're the best. Hype up the heroes who've passed the test.
So, Ed.
First of all, I got to say I love my mustache.
I'm clean shaven. It's a little updated picture, man. Yeah. And the Crick is just, it looks clean, man.
Yeah, I know. I spent a lot of time there cleaning it up,
Other than the terrorists who have been tagging trees down there, it looks great.
Yeah, exactly.
Ed, that brings up kind of, the next slide here. Normally you do the introduction and you name it out. Might be hard to do.
Yeah.
I don't know. You gonna read all of these names?
I'm not gonna read all of them because I can't see them all. But this week's shout out from the Crick is for all 413 of our subs right now. We appreciate each and every one of you. Those of you that tune in every time that we actually go live, whether it's every other week, sometimes we skip weeks, skip a couple weeks, sometimes we have to. Life happens. But those of you who come on here and watch us when we're on, we appreciate you too. But, we've grown from like 340 to 413 in just the last few months. So we appreciate all the support and the respect. And we wish everybody to have a great end of the year. And however you celebrate the holiday season, whether it's Hanukkah or Christmas or Kwanzaa or whatever it is, happy holidays to all of you. And thank you all for the support. And we'll be back, next year, still rocking it and doing our thing. So stick around.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just want to echo that. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate you guys taking the time. Just even click that subscribe button, share it if you do like it, and bring it to other people's attention. We have said for a while, and this goes to a lot of what I was talking to Punk with Toys about in the past, is that I don't want to just blow up and have a bunch of subs just to have subs, right? Like, I want to have growth that we have list of the names on here. And this doesn't include everyone. This includes just the people who have accepted to make it public that they're a subscriber. I guess there's a setting in YouTube, like it won't let me pull something. So there's not all 413 names here. This is just the ones it lets me pull publicly. So I just want to say thank you to all the ones listed on the screen, which I think is 122, and then the remaining 390 or so that are not listed here, but that are subscribed to us. And what I will say is, I think, Ed, going back when we started this show almost 2 years ago now, a year and a half, 18 months, something like that, we had 230, 240 subs maybe, and being up to 413, especially over the last 3.5 months, we went from 325-ish roughly to 413 without changing much and just doing what we continue to do. We really appreciate you guys subbing, coming in and enjoying the show with us, giving us some banter back and forth, giving me a hard time. But like Ed said, we wish you the best into the next year. We look forward to coming back early next year and continuing with that momentum. So thank you, everyone. A Punk with Toys.
Quit fucking whining, you bitch.
And he appears.
Say my name. I need attention. What I was saying in the very beginning, right? Got to go on live every night to make sure that people don't forget him because, he's just such a fucking, attention hog.
Quality over quantity.
Yeah. And
That's
while
all.
we're here, we'll just say hi to Terrence's next
Oh,
toy. What's up,
TNT.
Terrence?
He's an awesome dude, and
Yeah.
he came on the show earlier in the year. Met him at Legion's Con, even if it was only briefly. Recently, he reached out to me, which is really cool. Provided me an opportunity. Hopefully, that's all going to work out. Very excited to work with him on some stuff in the near future. Yeah, good stuff. Welcome, thanks to TNT.
Oh, I'm sorry, Punk. You don't go live on Wednesdays. But I'm sure you're in chats running your mouth. I guarantee it. So people still see your name pop up. Let's not kid
Yeah.
ourselves here.
That said, again, shout out from the Crick, everybody. Thank you so
Yes.
much. We
Thank
appreciate
you,
you
everybody.
guys. And that's to all of you. That said, next up, we're going to go right on into the weekly news. Up first, we've got the Big Bad Workshop with some updates. They kind of showed off the new production Volt updates, which showed some final package samples and a closer look at the Jaeger Brigade Specialist, if I'm pronouncing that right, and I have the details correct. In the bonus figure from Soldiers of Fortune. Then you have
that's the Soldiers of Fortune line. Yep.
Yeah, and that's something you're very familiar with. This is one of your favorites. But they're showing you getting the package, and this is a package, or not package, I'm sorry. This is a preview of what's going to be in the package. They have the packaging dialed in. So then they also, we're reminding folks to go ahead and
is
pre-order.
only available if you order the all-in for the Soldiers of Fortune line.
Is that how that works? Okay, good to know. Good to know. So get all in on that Soldiers of Fortune to get your Destro military looking dude, like your Destro army builder, Pimp Daddy Destro army builder. It looks like to me.
Yep. That's exactly what it is.
I don't know if is it? Yeah, that's what it looks like to me.
It's a nod for sure.
Yeah, and then they also gave some updates on their first real progress look at Miranda Seek from Operation Monster Force, showing that they have that continual momentum and success through the first two books.
I believe she is going to be a vampire hunter, if I remember correctly what they said at Joe Fest.
Awesome. And then up next, we got a little, just quick update from Brutal Realm. Nothing flashy, but the real production progress is happening behind the scenes. During some test shot prep, the factory updated the hands and wrists to ball joints, what they deemed as a big articulation upgrade. This is one of those changes that directly improves the posing and playability, but not just the aesthetics. A clear sign the line is actively moving forward towards production, even if they're currently in a quiet phase today. Quick update from Creative Beast Studio, and this is really around their trading card game. He's showing off another one of their cards as they continue to progress and get that out for people to keep their eyes on it. More updates to follow on that. Four Horsemen had a few updates. Some of these are going back a couple weeks now, but the first one is Four Horsemen has been known to team up with folks and do some drops and some exclusives tied to their modular and customizing easy to swap figures with other IPs and whatnot. And so that's no different than what you see here, which ties to the Zolo world and the ZoloCon event for the third year.
You got the one, didn't you?
I got two of them.
Did you get two of them?
I've got the last two. I got the red skeleton one, and I've got the white skeleton one.
Yeah.
Yep. And then they now have the third one this year, which is the Executioner, I guess what they're calling the Executioner from what is referred to as the Realm of the Underworld.
Yep.
And this is a Legion's compatible figure, not to be confused with lore connections, but it's not within the lore of the Mythic Legions or anything, but it is compatible with their figurines and the modularity that those do give. There's a number of weapons you can see here, including multiple heads, an axe dagger, some magic effects, rat companion, and real chains. The ZoloCon Show Edition includes 2 extra glow-in-the-dark heads, making this the premium version. This was sold by ZoloCon team at the event, not the Four Horsemen table. An important detail for folks attending. There will be a standard version planned for 2026 online, so if you're not able to make the show, you can get a similar version of this figure, lacking a couple of the exclusives like those glow-in-the-dark heads. Up next, we got another exclusive from Four Horsemen, returning to Toylanta again this year after a very successful event last year. They're bringing another military-inspired Four Horsemen exclusive, again using their same buck and build system that they have. This one targeting more of the cosmic style by leveraging this military looking figure very similar to the ATL 25 from last year. They got LT Lieutenant Holiday. And then the idea here is that this will be sold at the event with show branded packaging plus a bonus head and some lower arms for some expanded display options. Lieutenant Holiday is fully geared out, sniper rifle, sidearms, some multiple head options, and making this a pretty large loadout for this release. And again, similar to the previous one from ZoloCon, there will be a standard version that will hit the storehorseman.com later in 2026 for those, again, who cannot attend this show. Something else they mentioned, which I thought was cool, was that the character that they're making is a regional nod to Doc Holliday, tying Toylanta directly into Georgia history. And then one last note here is the 2025 Retailer Appreciation Wave is fully through production and officially on the move from the factory. This lineup includes the second edition figure obscura repaints like Anubis, Bastet, Frankenstein's Monster, Ghost of Christmas Past, plus 2 brand new Legion figures, the Cosmic Legion Phantom Trooper, which is a really cool looking figure if you're into the Cosmic Legions, and then the Mythic Legions Vernalis Arden Scale, which is that snake looking dude.
What was that?
But I don't. The snake looking guy?
Yeah.
The Arden Scale? I'm probably saying it wrong.
I just wanted to hear you say it again, that's all.
Yeah, what a jerk. What a jerk. The shipping, I think I ordered one of those, but I don't remember. I wanted to. I don't know if I ever did. I have to go back and look. And then there's the shipping timeline, has them on the water soon, expected to arrive late January, early February, and retailer fulfillment shortly thereafter. And then this wave is retailer exclusive only, so will not be at events, no store horsemen, so pre-orders must go through partner shops. They did tease some drops for positive shipping news on Rising Suns, with early 2026 shaping up to be stacked. Up next, we got a couple updates from Plunderlings. These guys did a pretty big drop, which I hinted towards a month or so ago after Legions Con, telling folks that I had heard rumors from the booth when I was in Legions Con that they may not go the route of a Kickstarter and they may just go to a pre-order or ordering process. And that is exactly what happened. They went ahead, they bypassed the Kickstarter and just started producing these, I guess. So they have the Plunder Beaks. You can see these 3. You've got Flinch, you've got Cuervo, and you have Captain Longbill. They are all available on plunderlings.com, and they're up for pre-order on Big Bad Toy Store. One of the things I will point out that I did see was that they are available at a price break if you order them direct from Plunderlings, but I think shipping might be more expensive that way, but still may save you a little bit of money than going through Big Bad. But that's only for a limited time if they still have them in stock and available to order through plunderlings.com. So check that out, decide where to go, but one of those 2 would be your best option right now. And then, obviously knowing that they've done this with the Plunder Beak, they may, do the same thing with the Plunder Frogs. Don't know that for sure. I know recently the creator was on another YouTube channel. We actually have a communication out to the creator of Plunderlings, and hopefully we'll be bringing him on in one of the upcoming shows in the new year to talk about the Plunderlings, Plunder Beaks, and Plunder Frogs, and see where they go from there. But yeah, look forward to that hopefully in the future. But definitely get your Plunderlings. These are really cool looking. They did what I believe from what I saw in person and what I've seen in the images here. I think they did a really cool job with the sculpting on those wings. And then again, they give these nifty little characters. They're something different than everything else out there. It's a cool little world.
Robo reviewed the Flinch character today. Showed off the wings, how you can make them shorter, so that if you got small shelf space that you can use and stuff like that, and all the different articulation. Yeah, really cool design for sure.
Yeah, there was also, for those that don't know, there's a Plunder Strong out on Amazon that normally is like $30 or $40, but I saw it on Amazon for like $14.99 right now with free shipping, 2-day Amazon Prime. I'm assuming it's still that way. Go check that out if you want to get your hands on your first Plunder Strong, or even just kind of army build it. I was very shocked at the pricing on that. That was pretty cheap for that, and what is so far been good figures. Up next, we got some updates from Valaverse. Over at the Valaverse World, they have the Black, which is interesting because I've been listening to a couple streams recently, and Bobby, the creator of Valaverse and the Action Force line here, has multiple times mentioned in the beginning around the Black that he was going to be he thought about releasing an entirely different line, where it was not connected to Action Force, and it was something completely unique and different, but decided to bring the Black into the Action Force lore, which I thought was very interesting. But then on some more recent shows, he very much so is highlighting the Black as its own thing, and it's getting a lot of attention. So, while it's nested within the Action Force lore, it is very much so, from what I can tell, being built to stand on its own. So it's really, really interesting. And you can see here an early tease of the Black's diver unit, showed in detail concept breakdown, and it's already turning heads. I saw some chatter on this today. I think these were posted today, if I remember correctly. But this is 100% all new tooling based on the messaging I saw from Valaverse. Not a part is being reused, which is interesting to me because that says that you're not using the buck at all. It doesn't look much different than the normal bucks that I've seen previously. So it's very interesting that they're going with a whole new tooling for that. But it's very exciting. But again, this kind of echoes what I was saying as I opened, is that this is signaling to me a major investment in the Black faction or portion of the Valaverse and Action Force line. Still, again, very much in the work in progress, with more gear and detail planned before finalization. Shocking though, to me, was that they're targeting a 2026 release for this figure and trying to get it out if possible. It was noted by Valaverse that this is a very ambitious push, but that's the push that they're looking to bring this to fruition with. Looked really cool. Love this skull looking face, underwater mask, scuba mask there. Kind of makes me think of somebody like, if there wasn't the Black, that might tie in with Crossbones, or not Crossbones, but there was the one character that had that crossbone face or whatever. I can't think of what his name is right now. But yeah, this will be interesting. What is it?
I said I'm drawing a blank too.
Yeah. But this looks cool to me. I'm very excited for that. And again, I don't really collect those anymore. But again, there was a couple other things. We saw some new package shots for Malice, which another thing I will point out I thought was interesting is that what is being posted on Facebook isn't the same stuff that's being posted on Instagram. There was different angles and different shots being shown on each. So I did pull both the Facebook and Instagram photos. New packaging, giving you kind of a closer up look at what the final retail presentation looks like. What I'll say is that Bobby and the Action Force Valaverse folks continue to enhance this, and what I would say, make it look like they're trying to get this store ready, so beyond the online presentation. But with this packaging, it looks like they're definitely trying to get themselves ready for some sort of shelf space in a product, in a Walmart or Target maybe at some point. But this figure has that deluxe loadout, multiple weapons, some effects, and definitely it's Valaverse's heavy accessory standard. This feels very close to what's going to be a final product territory, signaling that Malice is nearing a much wider release for shipment. And then there was also a note around Weapons Pack Lima, which is their shotguns and Uzi-looking guns, which I guess has been a big seller, and most retailers have been sold out of those or are selling out of those relatively quick, but that they plan to do a new production run with the manufacturing for early 2026, and Bobby himself hinted towards bringing back other sold out weapon packs depending on how this relaunch goes, but also mentioned that this relaunch, because he doesn't like to make things exactly the same and just do a reprint, he likes to add something to make it a little bit unique each time. So some sort of suggestion of cool additions were made around this. And that's it this week for the news. Ed, before I jump to the main topic, was there any comments or anything we want to pull up?
Sure. Punk says, if only it said Soldiers of Fortune on the pic somewhere, Travis. This coming from the guy who doesn't even know the characters he's posting as he's talking about the news.
That's me?
No, talking about Punk.
Oh.
Telling you to
Yeah,
put names on it, and yet he doesn't name. He can't even name the characters. Listen to this guy. I tell you.
exactly.
Go do your Monday show or something, Punk. Get ready for that. Menhoza saying Monster Force needs a cryptid hunter. Yes, they do. That's why I made my own, since they don't have one.
Oh, you know what? I did get news last night. I did get news from a show last night.
All right, hold on a second.
And it was about Monster Force.
Terrence saying that he's going to be at both shows, Zolicon and at ToyLeet. So
yeah, that's awesome.
Shopping for a lot of people, I'm sure.
Terrence is he's killing it. The dude literally posted his own toured toy cons this year. Four Horsemen announced where they're going to be. I think Savage Crucible did the same. And then all of a sudden, the third person to post their 2026 tour schedule was Terrence, right? Like, he had, this tour of all the cons.
The dude's an animal, man. The dude's an animal.
And I'm like, this guy's crushing it. And, hey, we should actually give him a congratulations because I think he's got nearly all of the Mythic Legion figures he's attempting to get except for one. And I don't know if he's actually acquired that yet or not because I saw a post in the last few days where he's saying he got everything but one. There's one he's trying to track down.
That's awesome. Congratulations, Terrence.
Yeah.
Hopefully you get that last one. What's your news from Monster Force?
Oh, that yesterday on the show they talked about, I thought it was yesterday. It might have been another show. I don't know. I guess that, or maybe it was earlier tonight when Punk was on with the other guys. I'm not 100% sure. But there was a comment made about if you had just told Punk that Donner Party wasn't going to be like the Frankenstein for that, and it's just a placeholder. There's going to be another Frankenstein character.
Yeah.
So I heard that. I didn't realize that. I think that was tonight or yesterday.
That was last night on his ramblings. Yeah.
Okay, so I was listening to his ramblings. See,
yeah.
I was watching wrestling, working on some stuff, and listening to that all at once. But I haven't figured it out. Awesome. I'll go ahead and I'm going to jump over to. Hey, did we pull up Jetman's comment?
Oh no, I was still going through the channel.
Oh, okay. Hey, Jetman.
Oh, you got it up. Good.
Yep.
As I'm hiding it. What's up, Jetman? I had him start. We got sidetracked talking about Punkadelic here with his.
It happens.
How was it saying? Monster Force should see about getting Dresden as an actual character in their line. That'd be pretty cool. They got a bunch of new characters coming and some, new Monster Hunter stuff based on actual old characters and stuff from Monster lore. So it'll be interesting to see what comes this year.
And there was one thing that I didn't cover the news on because I unfortunately have not watched the stream yet. But Savage Crucible did make a bunch of subtle hints and suggestions of what 2026 looks like. Includes 7+ exclusive drops or other drops beyond Wave 3 and the additional things like Death Dealer and Elric and the other ones that they've already announced. They suggest there's 7 other ones. I even saw somebody make a comment in the Savage Crucible group that maybe it's the 7 dwarfs. And I laughed because everybody wants dwarfs. And I was like, that would be hysterical if they somehow played up some sort of 7 dwarfs spin.
That would be awesome.
But we'll see. But I'll give better updates on the Savage Crucible stuff either between now and our next show, in a one-off pre-record, just the my assumptions and thoughts because I really do enjoy talking Savage Crucible. But I didn't think I could do it justice to fully speak to it tonight in the news. So just a little quick update on that. With that said, Ed, I'm going to jump over to the main topic, right? So again, we talked about this earlier. Indie over mainstream, where we spend our dollars and really, the nuts and bolts of what tonight's show is. And it's really the indie revolution. And we've talked about the indie revolution in some capacity in the past. But really, I don't know that we've talked about, is it better than mainstream? Is that where it is? I know that's where we spend our dollars. But tonight we're going to talk a little bit more about specific independent toy lines and kind of talk about why those areas have been better or worse than the big box toys. And yes, Matt, I do know there's dwarves. I've seen them on their table since PowerCon 2023.
Mm-hmm.
They have been letting us know they are coming because we want them very, very badly. For sure. That I'm very excited. I will definitely be going heavy on those dwarfs for sure. That said, let's go into the first slide. So really, and I mean, this goes beyond 2025, but if 2025 proved anything, it's that collectors are really, really trusting indie creators more than ever. It's not something, this isn't something that's coming. It's already here, and it was happening before 2025. But the reason I say in 2025 it really shows is because think about all of the things that happened in 2025 in an industry and beyond. And I'm not going into the politics side of it, but there was politic related things that impacted the toy industry as a whole, and then even more so had a large impact on independent creators to some degree, and online stores, right? So because of that, I think it goes to say, in a good statement, that 2025 really proved, even with all of that, people are still willing to spend the money on your independent toys. We saw some Kickstarters this year succeed. We saw some fail, right? Most recently we saw what's the one, the Unparalleled Universe guy? I can't think of what it's called. Odious. We saw the Odious repeat, and come out with another Kickstarter and succeed. We've seen others, try to make the run this year, which didn't hit the mark where they wanted to, but they're not dead. They're crafting and working things behind the scenes to bring forward again in the future. We've seen Plunderlings this year, like I just said in the news, right? Originally planning for a Kickstarter, say, you know what, we don't even go the route of Kickstarter. We're going to fund this, and we're going to bring this to fruition with the Plunder Beaks and the Plunder Frogs on their own without doing the Kickstarter. So I think
it's interesting to look at the fact that, back in March or whenever it was, right, of this year, and April, and the tariffs were kicking in, and everybody was, the toy industry's dead, and all the prices are going to go crazy, and no one's going to stop. Everyone's going to stop buying toys, and here we are, right at 2 weeks for the end of the year, and we've had more freaking toy releases come out this year, and every time you go on Instagram, someone's holding a new figure. I mean, Mezco, for as much as I love Mezco's Rumble Society, they came out with that Doc Nocturnal Christmas edition with the Yeti. They came out with the Doc Nocturnal, or with Krampus. They came out with the Winter Doc Nocturnal with the Yeti, and a couple other figures, all within a couple of months. We're talking, 120 to 350 for these figures, right? They're sold out before you can even get on there. The one figure I went to go get, it was 20 minutes after 1 o'clock when I finally took my lunch and was able to get online, and it was already sold out. And I was like, I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah, and these are smaller toy lines. This isn't just your Hasbro, your Mattel, those bigger brands, right? We're seeing success and continued success with these independent toy lines. I think, we picked these 6 because I feel like they cover a really broad brush of different areas. You've got your Four Horsemen, you've got your Savage Crucible, you've got your Valaverse. Actually, let's take a step back. You have your Savage Crucible and Four Horsemen. Very similar kind of mythic, barbarian, fantasy-driven stuff.
Yeah.
Yep. And then you have your Valaverse, which is very military driven, and then you have your Animal Wars of the Kingdom, which is really, it's a fantasy sci-fi anthropomorphic world, and then you have your Plunderlings, which is like its own, like it's completely like, to me it's like a really cool version of those old trolls from like the early 90s everybody had. It's like its own, like those the trolls and stuff. And then you have your Operation Monster Force, which is kind of like this fantasy, like sci-fi horror genre that leverages that military-esque look and feel, right? So like uniquely different product lines, but wanted to cover them because I feel like they have a varying, like you have in my opinion, if you were ranking these in like market share, right? You have your Four Horsemen at the top. You have your, Valaverse probably just on, not, I won't say just under that, but would be next in line. And then you have that Savage Crucible, Animal Warriors of the Kingdom, and Monster Force kind of all playing in that same space. Maybe Animal Warriors being just slightly below those two, and then Plunderlings, not a discredit to it, but probably being the lower of them, just because it's kind of like a unique world altogether.
Yeah.
But I wanted to kind of show that range as we were talking about it, because I think it goes to show what the indie creators can do. Like, it is a wide, and we'll talk more about like what that that band of, or that spectrum of creative IP allows. But when we're thinking about 2025 and where we are, I've seen a ton of independent growth. And over the last 5 years, and I know I've only probably been in it for the last 3.5 years or so now. But what I will say is that we know a lot of people, again, this isn't political, this is just facts. A lot of people had a lot of disposable income because of the COVID years. And that was allowing people to do things they hadn't done in years, which is consume things that are like collectibles, cards. You saw
There's
cards.
nothing else for people to spend their money on, right? I mean,
they couldn't go anywhere,
right?
So you could get things. You could start collecting things with your children because you're at home and you had nothing to do. Couldn't go to the movies, couldn't go to areas, so a lot of things to do. So people were spending money. And what 2025 tells me is that you saw this growth for all these years before where money was being spent. Large sums of money were being spent on products. We see it because of the results of over purchasing by the big box brands, like in Ollie's and those things, right? So it's proofs in the pudding, and you see it. But now you fast forward to 2025, and even with all of that uncertainty that we dealt with early in this year, we're looking at coming into 2026 with a crap ton of indie lines doing well. And that to me says a ton. So that's why I say 2025 to me proved that indies can stand on their own.
Not only are we going into 2026, right? We got Monster Force coming out with more stuff. You have Savage coming out with more stuff. Four Horsemen, you just talked about that in the news, right? Sparrow's got more stuff. Animals War of the Kingdom. Plunderlings just dropped the Plunder Beaks. They got Plunder Frogs planned. Valaverse got a bunch of stuff planned. And you got, then you got things that haven't even hit yet that made it through the Kickstarter this year, like Brutal Realm, right? I mean, those are coming in 2026. You got a couple other guys that, I can't remember the 3 3/4 inch horror figures that I saw at Joe Fest that made it. They're coming out in 2026. I mean, there's just...
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
They were like those bloody ones.
Yeah.
There was cryptids. There's a bunch of stuff over the last
year.
Oh,
yeah, Loose Collector, right? They got 3 huge, Bigfoot type creatures coming out in the early 2026, and then they got plans for this gigantic Chalulu and I can never say that name right, but everybody knows what I'm talking about. And they got Dogman and a couple other ones, right? And it's like, if you look at, you and I have talked about it plenty of times, right? There is just way too much stuff, and if you're not like smart, right, you could go broke real fast.
I've learned that as I continue to look at a stash that I still haven't even cracked. Yes. I think I unboxed the stuff that I planned to sell just so I could say I unboxed it. Probably would have been better off leaving it in box. But yes, there's a lot of stuff out there. And I think that, so you'd agree, right? Like, in that sense, right? That 2025 does prove something. It proves that the playing field's there, and I think big box guys aren't just on their own, and they don't own this space anymore. This space, you have groups from, and I'm going to just pick the big and the small in this group that I'm looking at on the screen here. You got folks from Four Horsemen down to the Plunderlings playing in the same space that your Hasbros and Mattels have been playing in for decades.
Yeah.
And they're playing and they're competing. When I say playing, it's not just showing up and it's 99-1. It's like these guys are showing up and they're playing at the same level in some ways. And that kind of brings me to the next slide here, right? And part of the shift that we talked about is, it's about the big brands creating their own problems. Prices keep going up. but the quality control hasn't kept pace. And this isn't picking on them, right? Like,
Right.
I buy Mattel Ultimate Edition figures, and
Yeah.
you know, I don't buy the Joes so much, but that's just because I kind of shifted away. But my youngest still collects the Legends, and my oldest, 22, literally sent me his Christmas list a couple weeks ago, and there was a couple of Legends in there that he wanted.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that when he sees what was released over the last 48 hours, he's like, oh, I want this one and that one too. But like, they still do well, and I still consume them, but the quality hasn't kept pace with the production. And when consumers are paying almost the same price for mass marketed figures as you are for indie ones, we as collectors begin to ask ourselves the obvious question, right? Why not buy the better figure? That said,
even if it's not quote unquote better, right? Let's just, like if you take a Marvel Legends figure, right? We've all seen that Marvel Legends has slowly increased their prices. They're not crazy, but they go up a couple of bucks every few months this past year, right? And then at the same time, it seems like for a Spider-Man, you give him 2 extra hands instead of the 4 and an extra head that you used to get, plus a web effect, right? So you're
plus
slowly,
a bath,
right.
a bath part. They don't even have them.
Yeah, so you're taking out pieces and increasing your price, and then you just got things like Marvel Legends with their plastic capes, right?
Yep.
The cloth goods capes are so much, even McFarlane is doing cloth goods cape, right? So
I didn't even see that.
Why Marvel Legends cannot do cloth goods capes is beyond me. Now I realize it's a huge production run, but they could try to do like in one of their superior or maximum lines, right? Give us a caped figure with an actual cloth cape in your maximum line.
Mattel does their WWE Ultimate figures, which are $34.99 roughly.
Yeah.
And they come with cloth goods. They come with cloth coats and shirts
Yep.
and things like that. So cloth goods aren't something that they can't produce and do at that scale, because I know Mattel's a little bit smaller, and I'm sure it's not the same amount of run for those WWE Mattel figures as you get for a Spider-Man, but it's got to be damn near close. And what I would say is, I think that your point there was really good when you think of Hasbro. Let's go to Hasbro and talk about a better, I don't want to say better, but a more equal comparison. And that's Valaverse and G.I. Joe. And the reason I say that those are a better comparison to start to figure out where you're seeing your dollars and cents is, Valaverse owns his Action Force, Hasbro owns the G.I. Joe. They are not paying licensing fees and all of that stuff, right? What we've seen Valaverse continue to engage in the community and learn what the consumers want, or be closer to the pulse, I believe closer to the pulse of what's going on in the community, and bring more to the product while lowering the price. Whereas Hasbro continues to, and I know they have shareholders, and I get all of that, and they're employing way more people than Valaverse is, and I get all of that. And I know that Valaverse has a very good business model that allows him to sell direct to consumer for a large portion of his buyers, but he also does use other e-tailers and things like that. But for him, he's able to get out there and sell that first and get it in the consumer's hands before the e-tailers can. So he kind of gets a jump on them. That said, Hasbro can do it. They're doing it with Hasbro Pulse with a lot of their stuff if they choose to do so. Again, it's to scale. There's different things. But when you compare the products for even, like, you don't even have to pay more and you get more. You know what I mean? Like, the Valaverse, you're getting more. So, I mean, I don't need a dozen hands. I don't need, that. But you get it. It's nice to see the price point going down while others are going up, and you're getting more in your package. And my experience, and it's been a minute since I purchased a bunch of, Vala or Joe, figures, but the quality, it's on par. I mean, I feel like when I say on par, I would say the Valaverse figures aren't any less quality than
I bought Valaverse. Well, yeah, I got one shipped to me from Ted from Hello Dope Toys a few months back. It was one of the Wave 5 figures. I believe it's Wave 5.
Yeah.
It's still the same thing that he was making, from the SDS line. I mean, good solid figures. I just
you're not complaining. Like,
right. I just got a new Joe a couple weeks ago. It's same thing. I think the difference between the Valaverse and the Joe, right? You're talking like a $2 to $3 price tag difference overall.
Right.
Joe's giving you accessories that tie it into GI Joe, which are backpacks and the guns that the original characters came with, and yada yada. They're banking on the nostalgia. Valaverse is trying to bank on this is my new IP, or my IP with a post-apocalyptic sci-fi twist, military type thing to it, right? But Val is doing things like giving extra hands. There's only a few Joes that actually come with extra hands.
Yeah.
There's a few of them that are starting to come with extra heads. Now, do they give you a lot of accessories? Absolutely. I mean, GI Joe, out of all the lines that Hasbro's doing, is definitely not shying away from adding the accessories to their figures. But I think the problem is that GI Joe, they learned because they got told they were being stupid when they were making different looking characters and trying to modernize it. No one wanted it, so they went back to full swing the other way. So now they're banking so much on the nostalgia that they're afraid to take a risk and do some stuff, right?
Then we'll talk about risk and doing things in a minute, right? So that's a great point. But like I would say, right, like they're a good comparison.
Yep.
And why pay more when you can get equal or better with an independent line? And we'll talk a little bit more about those other pieces, but like, these independent lines, they're building trust because they're there. They're on streams. They're giving you that opportunity. Savage Crucible, Rob from Savage Crucible, Jeremy G from Four Horsemen. They're streaming and talking to the consumers. They're having conventions. They're at conventions. They're available. You can connect with them. I don't want to say on an intimate level, but on a personal level to some degree.
I think the cons with the creators actually being there, or representatives of the creators being there, people that actually work for the company, I think that has made the indie lines leap over the Mattel.
It's narrowed the margin so hard.
Right.
If nothing else, it's at least narrowed that margin and that gap.
Because people like to be able to walk up and say, "Hey, this is what I think." Right? Like I went up to Bill from Fresh Monkey Fiction and Big Bad Workshop, and was like, "Hey, what's going on with this?" And he wasn't like, "Oh, I can't really say because it's confidential, and I got
which
my corporation said I can't talk about this." He was just like, this is what's going on. This is what the plan is. This is how we're going to recover. Yada yada, whatever. Right? And it was nothing. And I think which
to be expected, right? Like that's not like, to be clear, we're not crapping on how they have to do it. We understand that. We respect it and can understand the situation. But these smaller brands, these smaller companies, they don't have to follow those same rules, right?
Exactly.
They can do the things they need to do to kind of I saw some things as I was doing some research on this and some of the chats and comments on Reddit in different areas, right? Is that, the relationship kind of, from what I was seeing is like, and I was trying to look at like the earlier days of like the McFarlane and things like that, and they feel like it's more closer to that like early days of Toy Biz and McFarlane with what you're dealing with as far as having more feeling less corporate, when you're dealing with these independent groups. Social media massively closed the gap, right? Creators are on there. You can get in touch with them, whether it be a podcast or, an Instagram post or whatever, right? And because of that, that allows you to establish that relationship and trust with people. Some people might call us shills. I think shills are slightly different, right? Because shills are someone who benefits financially or with some product or access to people to promote their own something. But to me, it's like, it builds that relationship for people to feel comfortable with it. So
I think that's what's helped really push a lot of these Kickstarters over the edge, right? Like, look at Wade from Unparalleled Universe with Zodius, right?
Right.
A lot of people recognize the character because it was his logo, right? So he started to make the figure, and he's out there talking to people, maybe not in person, but online, right? You're saying on social media, he's out there, right?
Yeah.
So people, because of our human nature, just automatically feel like he's real, right? He's not just some guy hiding in the back corner that's saying, "Hey, I'm
Wizard of Oz
this with a picture of myself over here," and it's not even really me, right? He's out there
Right.
talking every week and doing stuff,
Yeah.
right? All these guys are. I
Absolutely.
mean, I walked up to Rob at Joe Fest at the Savage booth when I was buying my Warrior of Ball and Chain and said, "This is the first Savage Crucible figure I'm buying, and I have to buy it because my YouTube streaming partner, Mr. Wonderful," and Rob goes, "Oh yeah, we know Mr. Wonderful, right?" I mean,
That's
you
awesome.
don't get that from Hasbro, right? I mean,
Yeah.
and no offense to Hasbro, but they don't know that GI Jetman is buying a bunch of
Yeah.
GI Joe figures and a bunch of Marvel Legends, right? They don't know him. But
Absolutely.
I talked to Rob, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we know Mr. Wonderful, right?" I mean,
Absolutely. No, that's great. And I think to kind of like wrap up this slide before we go to the next one, I think a couple of points I want to call out, right? Big, as to why, these openings were created by the bigger brands. Bigger brands have raised the prices, assuming that blind loyalty would carry them through.
yep,
Retail exclusives, which we didn't really even talk about, but retail exclusives and the scarcity has burned people out. With these independent toy creators, I talked about in the news this week. There are con exclusives that Four Horsemen's doing, and they're exclusive to Jolanta and Zolocon. However, you'll be able to get nearly similar figures online at a later time if you can't attend those. So there is some exclusivity to that, but you can still get damn near the same thing. And to me, that helps, right?
yeah.
We
Well, you
also
take
got to
Savage
echo
Crucible's
that.
model, right? They're doing
Yeah,
drops at specific shows, but then those figures will be available, whatever stock's left over, in future
yep,
shows or on
exactly.
their website, right? So
Yep.
they're
And yeah,
exclusive drops. They're not exclusive figures, which is a different type
right.
of product.
Exactly. And I mean, I think Sphero Animal Wars the Kingdom's done something similar, right?
Yep.
Like they had that Tanger one from PowerCon, and they had that one on their website for a little while, if I remember
Yep.
correctly. And then they're supposed to have one that was supposed to be, I think, this year, but I think it got pushed back to next year.
Yeah.
It was a Joe Lanta exclusive too,
Yeah.
I think. And it was
Felonious.
like a blue, yes, Felonious, right?
Yeah.
So that one, I think, is the same thing. And it was always known that, whatever available stock is left after the con might be online, and you should be able to purchase
Yeah.
it there, hopefully. So that's the hope. Again, that's part of the problem. The big bad, the big brands, they're not necessarily allowing for that. They obviously have QC misses, and everybody has QC misses. But let's be honest, you didn't have when there was a foot hinge in one of the bigger brands, like any one of the bigger brands. If they had a foot hinge or an issue in their product, they didn't go out and look online and find every pre-order that was ever made up to a certain date and say we're going to reissue a replacement feet for that.
Right.
The smaller brands can do that. Yes, it's a scale issue to some degree, but it's also a reason you're going to build loyalty in these other independent
Yep.
teams, and you're going to feel more comfortable going with them, hopefully. And I think we as consumers, we recognize that it's easier for them to do it because it's a smaller, consumer base for that. It's a little bit easier to manage when it's smaller, but we also hope that they remember where they came from, and as they grow, they will keep to those. And I at this point right now, I have nothing else but to believe that from like the Horsemen and from
Yeah.
Savage and Valak, those people. I feel they'll do the same thing.
Valaverse, and Mythic Legions, Four Horsemen, and Savage Crucible did it with the foot thing with their
Yep.
Lemurians, right? But like
Yep.
Valaverse and Mythic Legions, they have actually proactively said, "Oh yeah, we discovered a problem after after the product ships. There's not much they can do about it until it hits, right? And people start playing with it.
Yep.
Then they're like, hey, the arm broke or the leg broke or whatever it is, right? But
Or the paint app on the
proactively,
chest was wrong or something.
right,
So
as soon as
we'll
they
get you a
find
different
out
one.
about it, they're out there either getting the corrective action out there, or at least letting
Yeah.
people know about it, like putting the slips into the boxes, right? Be careful. Make sure you heat the
Exactly.
figure up before you go twist it around, right?
Yep. And I don't know what figure line it was I was recently watching. It might have actually been Savage Crucible. Yes, Savage Crucible actually has a product online that they sell. It's a separate neck ball joint that you can swap in and out, and it actually gives a higher range of motion for like the
Yeah.
Wave 1 figures.
Yep.
So like there's different things like that. They recognize that, and I mean it's so inexpensive. It's like if you want that upgrade, go for it. But like that's where these smaller independent groups, independent companies can go ahead and do that. There's with the smaller companies, I think you, myself, others, many will give grace to these smaller independent lines for using reused parts. a little bit more than we do to the bigger brands, right? And I think that's fair because we expect the bigger brands to have a higher wallet so that they can produce more
I
unique
think,
molds and things like that.
yeah,
But I think we give grace to the smaller ones to some degree because we understand that they have to get off the ground.
right.
But then
Go ahead, finish.
but then I was gonna say, like, we have Animal Wars of the Kingdom, right? They went to market with the Kickstarter for their second Kickstarter on the 6-inch figures, right? Because of the fact that they wanted to expand their parts library to allow a ton of different deliverable, right? They did that because they felt that it was more productive to build a parts library that would allow them to, constantly churn out different figures. Four Horsemen, kind of doing the same thing, right? Like, continuing to build out different parts libraries that they can pick and pull from, so you can get your figure Skura and different things like that.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say. I think
we don't see that with a big box.
It's not really that I don't think we really. I mean, maybe we do give people in general give more grace to the independents, but I also think it's how it's done, right? Like, Four Horsemen. Can you identify that they're reused these boots and these legs or this hip or arm or whatever? Sure you can, right? But can you tell just by looking at it standing on the shelf? You can't, right? Whereas a lot of like the bigger box dudes, right? Like G.I. Joe legs. There's a lot of guys that have the same G.I. Joe legs. And if they're standing on the shelf in a group, you can tell, oh, those are just pants repainted, right? Like, look at Bobby Vala's first, 2 or 3 waves, right? All the figures are basically the same box, 2 different style pants, right? Different style legs. Right. You could tell by looking at the shelf that those figures were all the same figure, right?
And with military line, I give a ton more grace to even military for Joe and Vala because, like, there's only so much you can do with that. Right. That said, when I think of it, I'm thinking more like your Legends, and the thing that I always bring up is the Bucky Buck or whatever it was, right? Yes. Like that was a huge thing for a long time.
Yeah,
exactly. And used just to save money.
Right.
When they should have used an alternative Buck or created a new one for the character. Because
McFarlane does that, right? They just reuse Batman's and paint the symbol a little different, and you can still see the mold line from
the old mold line. Yep, exactly. So I think that's part of the issue with that. And then, I think when as collectors, we started to notice that the price parity was there. It's like, why? Why aren't we buying these independent lines? Why aren't we supporting people that in a large part have come from our community in some way? And I'm not talking about your Unparalleled Universe example, because that is like truly, or Mad Hatter, that is truly someone that came from the community and raised it up to a product, right? I'm talking about, like a Jason from Spiro Toys, or I mean, I'll even go as far as, with Bobby Vala. He was a collector growing up, and an artist, went to school, learned the trade, and got into it. He went and worked for the big guys, but then said, I'm going to go do it my own, right? And built his own piece altogether. Which, sorry, I got really excited because I've had this light out on my desk, and the top of the light wasn't working anymore, and all of a sudden it just started working. Sorry, like total butterfly, squirrel, whatever. Yes.
Before we go on to the next slide, let's hit the chat real quick.
Yes, please.
Jetman's asking, any word on the Savage Deluxe Dungeon set? I don't remember if they said
I can't give a complete update on things because of the fact that I have not watched that latest stream. I will say they've been way more active with their streams. So there's a lot of news constantly coming out of those guys. I think every other week at this point.
Yeah, they have a lot of stuff planned, especially right after the first of the year. So
yeah.
Manhoz is saying Doc the last of 7 dwarf on fire. I don't know what that means.
I'm not sure what that is. Maybe it's
it must be a reference to something, maybe. I don't know.
I think it's in reference to the 7 dwarfs and Doc being number 7, but maybe there's a show or something with the licensing because it's public domain, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. Allison Troy, Retro Toy Princess. What's up, Allison? Nice to see you. And we got It's Jay Gonzo here saying Action Figs, what's up? And MJ talking to everybody else, and Jetman, and that is it.
Awesome.
Thank you guys for stopping in. Appreciate you.
Oh, hold on. So we kind of covered this a little bit, right? But when you put them side by side, the difference is obvious. Indie figures are coming with better paint apps. Look at specifically Mythic Legions and your Savage Crucible, right? Like they're doing great. And I mean, let's just look at the one that's been around for the longest. But those Mythic Legions, the paint apps are great. Look at all of these figures we've talked about. The sculpts are deeper, they're cleaner. I'll talk about AWalk. They even slowed the production because they didn't feel that on one of the, I think it was the Brawler Bucks, maybe the sculpt wasn't deep enough, so they needed to redo some of the sculpting to make it better, to give it more visual on that mold. And then let's look at all of these lines. I think all of them, with the exception of which one is it? The little dudes, Plunderlings. All of them leverage cloth goods, right? Where Plunderlings don't use the cloth goods. They use things like magnets in the heads and the hats and stuff, so the accessories just like stick to them, which is awesome. But like they're doing things that are, I would expect those to be higher price point things, and we're still getting at like the same. We're getting a premium product, and almost like the Mezco level qualities in some of these figures, at a fraction of the Mezco price, much closer in line to your standard issue Walmart and Target price figures from the big brand.
if you take like you can't compare a Mezco Iron Man figure to a Marvel Legends Iron Man, right? It's got cloth goods, leather boots, all sorts of accessories, different hands, blast effects, the whole 9 yards, right? Mezco's price comes from all the accessories they put out there, plus the crazy soft goods that they use, right? But if you take and you're going to buy a Barbarian figure, right?
I was going to say, here, let me add to that real quick.
Okay, go ahead.
As you're going down there, let me just add one thing, because I know exactly where you're going. You've got your Mezco, you've got your Four Horsemen and your Savage Crucible, middle tier, right? And then let's look at Hasbro's Dungeons and Dragon figures. They did those, right? Just recently. Like, they're like the Legend size, like they're the 6-inch scale, right? Like, those as an example. So in that 3-tier consideration, Ed, go ahead. Just using that as their base, right?
I would definitely go and spend the $37 for a Mythic Legions, on their site, whatever they're called, the
Store Horseman.
Store Horseman, yep, that's the one. I'd pay $37, $40, $45, even $50 if it's a good enough figure, right? Like some of their knights and their figures are just super detailed, as opposed to spending $25, $27 on what Hasbro gave us for both their Dungeons and Dragons line, right? The movie based one and the old cartoon series one, right?
Yep.
Which, the cartoon series was great for nostalgia, but the figures were garbage.
Right.
And there was nothing special about them, you know what I mean? Great, it was based on a cartoon, but...
And going to that point, right? Like, ignoring the let's look at the movie one, just because it kind of like, it meshes different in the comparisons.
Yeah.
But, like, you can compare that Dungeons and Dragons toy to the Savage Crucible Conan-looking figures, right? Or the Barbarian, right? Ball and Chain, right? You can compare them and say, okay, I'm gonna spend a couple dollars more and get this way better quality product, right? You can compare that Ball and Chain to a Mezco Hercules or Conan. Sorry, thank you. Mezco Conan. You can compare that, and that's $60 less.
Yeah.
You cannot compare that Dungeons and Dragons to that Conan from Mezco.
Yeah.
But you can take that one that's only $10 more with a nearly like on par quality that you're getting for a Mezco level product.
Well, look at the Frazetta girls, right? Like that Norseman.
Exactly.
My Norseman, I think he's a great figure. I love the figure, but he was $80 plus shipping, right?
Yeah.
The Ball and Chain is, to me, a much better figure, and he cost me $50 at Joe Fest, right?
Exactly. And that's what I'm saying. But you wouldn't compare that Dungeons and Dragons figure to that one from Frazetta Girls, because they're two different markets.
Yeah.
But the ones in these other independent toys that are right there, dead smack in the middle, or even closer, I would even say they're farther from the middle. They're more on the lower end than the middle, right? Because like you gotta so it's just it's it's right there. So I think we've kind of beat the
Well,
pricing
yeah,
and the
I think that's
quality.
like if you compare Monster Force, right, which is a $35 figure, $37 now, I believe, to GI Joe, right? Some of the Joes come out that are the deluxe figures are $35.99, whatever. If I'm going to spend my money, I'm going to spend it on a Monster Force figure. I think the actual figure itself is better. It comes with a lot more accessories, and it's a unique character. And I think that's for
Yeah.
me is one of the things, right? It's a unique character with some lore behind it. It's not just
Speaking
a
of,
guy that I knew from
speaking of lore,
my kids, my childhood, right?
yeah. Speaking of lore, that's what the next slide starts to talk about, right? Where they have deeper
I'm doing
lore,
good
the
tonight,
original
dude. Every
world.
time I bring up a
You're-
topic, it's ready for the
I
next slide,
know
dude. And
it's
I
it's
wasn't even
perfect.
prepped.
So, like, to me, it's clear, right? These creators, they're not dealing with approval boards. They don't have to go and they don't have to make sure that Chris Evans is okay with the way his face looks and
Right.
and all that stuff. That said, you've got folks like, and I'm going to use two of them. You've got Valaverse, who's working with the guy that's from the pirate show.
Yep.
You've got Four Horsemen now. After they announced that Legion's Con, they're going to be working with that Joe. I can't think of his last name, but the guy who is big into Dungeons and Dragons and stuff, and they're doing his character. It's not his own personal face, but they're going to be creating his own character. So we do have some of these independent creators climbing into this space where they do have to deal with the Chris Evans of their worlds and get approval, but there's not nearly as much red tape because you don't have a bunch of people running the books and oh no, you only got $7 to work with that, and you're using somebody else's likeness, now you got less money on that product, and you gotta spread it out. So they can take risks. The Vanguard, that was a risk, right? They went ahead and did pre-orders. When Hasbro wanted to create a large 1/12 scale vehicle, they went and said, let's HasLab it.
Right.
We have to sell this many to do it. So you can basically pay for our mold, and you, as a consumer, assume all the risk.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you've got Valaverse, who created the Vanguard. Like the product or not, he went out and risked that. He took the risk without having a bunch of stakeholders who said, no, we can't do that. We'll lose too much. We'll lose our pants on that one. And then you have Mythic Legions, the Dragon. Granted, that isn't a pre-order. It wasn't. I mean, it was kind of like a pre-order, but it was also the HasLab approach, right? Their own independent HasLab style, where they had to sell so many to get it. Which, they're not. I mean, I'm sure they're making money, but they're not making the kind of money that HasLab made off of the his tank, which they're now repurposing that mold for.
I think the difference though is that I think the Four Horsemen with the Dragon knew it was going to sell, so it technically was more of a pre-order. We have to have this many pre-orders before we can actually produce it, right? If they needed to extend it time, right? They would have extended it another month to give people more time to buy it.
I would assume that they would have probably considered that, or they would have come back in 3 months and say, "Hey, we redid some stuff. We figured this is a better time to do it, whatever."
Yeah,
but
exactly.
Big picture, they were gonna they did what 2025 marketing said to do, which is create a FOMO situation.
Yep.
We will hit the target, and I'm not slamming them for that at all.
No.
That is the consumer mindset today, so that makes sense. But additionally, they take the risks. They can get weird. They can create a pink Vanguard, which ties into breast cancer awareness. But being honest, how many people want a pink Vanguard? Maybe some people. I don't know. As a toy collector, that's something that I'm going to put on my shelf. I love the idea and where the money kind of goes, that type of thing. But is it something I need? Absolutely not. Not something.
It's really hard to sell a military vehicle in pink. I mean,
exactly. But
But
that's a risk. That's weird.
Right. It'd be like like the Dragon, Four Horsemen, right? They had 4 exclusive figures that came with the sets, depending on how many they sold. Right, blah blah blah. Even those figures that tie into the Four Horsemen lore and everything very well. Some of them were still not really people are like, yeah, that's that burnt
Yeah,
zombie. Yeah, that's great, but who?
didn't
I
need
don't
it.
really care about it, right? Don't need it, whatever,
Didn't
right?
need it. Yep.
I mean,
Yep.
then you got
Well,
but they're like trying to just give you something to make it more enticing, right? It's like,
yeah. Well, and then you have the other side of things, right? I want to point out is that, like, going back to not the other side, but an additional piece, right? Taking risks. Going back to that point, and I've called Valiverse up a couple times on this. A complete female figure wave. That, I mean, in a traditionally boy or male driven line, to go all female and say that's what I'm gonna do, and it worked. And
yeah,
from interviews I'd seen, he was previously told that would never work. That could never happen. No one would ever do that. That just wouldn't sell. But you know what? He didn't have a bunch of boardroom guys. He had to get that passed. He was able to just drive it forward and make it happen. Which
yes,
to me, that's awesome. I mean, that wasn't my cup of tea. I didn't need, an all female figure line. It's
no,
not how I collect. But I love that he had the opportunity to. I love that we have a community and consumers that are interested in that, and it satisfied someone's niche because it was successful. So, like, additionally, you can build full worlds. Look at legions, and I'm going to look at them because I feel there's two I'm going to speak to in this. I mean, I guess I could speak to most of them. Operation Monster Force, they're going with multiple worlds. They've got prequel driven like offset lines that tie to it. Valiverse is now expanding into the black. You have the Plunderlings, which are now expanding into their Plunder Beaks, and they had already done the Plunder Longs, Plunder Talls, Plunder Strongs, all that stuff, right? And now you have Savage Crucible has had their different, world building aspect to it, but not nearly as large as what we're seeing out of the Four Horsemen, right? Which is truly continue to build out their mythos and grow that as a whole. And in AWOC, right? AWOC's doing the same thing. They've got so many different, anthropomorphic style characters, from elephants to rhinos to monkeys to lions. They got the whole safari going in there. But they're building out unique worlds that tie into like the past and touch on a little bit of nostalgia, but with a complete refresh to everything. I think these lines are doing a great job.
I think what you just said is a good thing. Let me touch on that in just a second. What you just said. But I want to say hi to first of all,
Thanos Copter.
Copters. What's up, brother? And happy Hanukkah to you, my friend. But what you just said about the nostalgia, I think, is one of the keys that's making these independent lines successful.
Yep.
Is that they are giving us things that are nostalgic but new, right? Whereas Master of the Universe, people love it because they're the fans, lifelong fans, and that's a great thing. And I appreciate the love of it, right? G.I. Joe's the same. They're giving you the lifelong fans the G.I. Joe that they had as a kid, and they're still loving it, and they're doing great with that, and I appreciate that too. What the indie toys are doing, like Mythic Legions, right? Everybody growing up loved knights, dragons, monsters, all of it, right? Monster Force loves the military. Also, people love the monsters, Dracula, Frankenstein, the Mummy, all that, right? So they're hitting these nostalgic pieces, but giving you a totally new type of figure and character, right? And the problem that the big dogs have, like Hasbro and Mattel, is exactly what I said before, is that you have a whole group of this fandom that if they try to give you something that's new or different, but still in that same world, these guys go absolutely batshit stupid and trash the product, and then it doesn't get produced or it doesn't sell, and then they're like, okay, we won't make that anymore. And then you get stuck in this thing, right?
Well, you hit that perfect, and I think it, like, just to extend on that, right? It goes back to that risk, right? They try to do something, and if it deviates too far from the origin, they don't want people just know that it's not the faithful. They don't believe in it,
right?
And okay, I can get that, but the problem is we're in a world where these larger, bigger companies aren't willing to take the risk on something new that smells like something old. And what I mean by that is, I'll use AWOC as an example. It's very much that nostalgia meets modern and unique, right?
Mm-hmm.
They don't owe that lore to anyone. I'm not waiting for Thundercats or, like, I'm not waiting for that character, like any of those characters or He-Man to show up on
Yeah,
the
you're not
screen.
waiting for Cornelius from the Planet of the Apes to come out from them, right?
Right, but I'm waiting. But it touches on a lot of those things enough to be like, oh, I feel like I've seen a world like this before.
Yep.
But they don't owe me anything, so everything they bring forward to me tastes good. It's new. I don't go, oh, that doesn't taste like what I was supposed to. Like like if you bit into a burger, like the GI Joe examples, you bite into a burger, but it tastes like fish. Like that didn't work.
Right. Yeah, it's
like
going to a barbecue and someone's cooking fucking vegan burgers, right? I mean, it's like, I know people are vegan, and I apologize, but a vegan burger is not a fucking beef burger, no matter what, right?
Right, and if you bite into it thinking it's going to be a beef burger, you're
it's like one of my biggest pet peeves, I'll tell you. You go to the fucking cookie tray at work during the holidays, and someone made fucking chocolate chips, but it's actually fucking raisins, right? You're expecting a chocolate chip cookie and you bite into it and it's fucking raisins. It's the worst fucking feeling in the world, right?
Right, and in that example, that's unfortunately what happens with the GI Joe brand.
Yep.
If somebody goes in to try to bite a burger and they're like, wait, this is vegan. This isn't what I wanted. This isn't what I'm used to, because they have an expectation.
Yes.
But when you see the AWOC or the Mythic Legions or the Savage, any one of the ones we listed, you go to bite that burger, you're like, oh, that tastes like a burger, because you have no expectation differently. Like that's just what it tastes like. So you're not getting burned from it. So that hurts the big brands because they can't take that risk. They won't take that risk, and they're not building something new. They're just building something.
Well, the problem is that every time.
When's the last time you saw something new?
Right, the few times that they have tried, they've gotten their asses handed to them. They released the GI Joe line, in 2020 when COVID was out, right? That's when they came out with the new classified line.
But that problem is they didn't release anything new, Ed. They released something that had been done and they just redid it.
Right.
They didn't release something new. They didn't come out with the Sigma, Alpha, Beta, whatever army guys.
They could have taken GI Joe, said this is the new GI Joe, and it's not Duke, it's Stone, right? Whatever his name is, right?
Unfortunately, they did GI Joe remastered. And they tried to remaster it as something that it wasn't. And then when that didn't work, it was like, oh, we better go to, like G.I. Joe Classified originally was G.I. Joe Remastered. And then when it wasn't working, they said, okay, we're going to do G.I. Joe Reissued. That's really all it is. And I'm not picking them because I think they do a great job of what they do. But unfortunately, they tried a little bit of change. And because the consumer doesn't like biting a burger that tastes like fish, thinking it's supposed to be beef, they're like, that's not right. Because they're used to it. Whereas with the AWOC, you get something unique. Or, these other lines. So that's really where I see that. And, I think that because of the world building that these independent lines can do, it opens up an entirely new... It ties into the same thing with the social media and the cons and the creators being there and having access to them. It's another thing that accelerates the growth and the ability to succeed in this space today against these big companies. Yeah. Leading me to...
Hold on, let's hit the chat real quick.
Oh, yeah.
Thanos saying, thanks, Ed. Good, busy working and side hustling. Made $5K today. Peddling MTG cards. Damn, dude. I'm impressed. Congratulations. Yeah. Tony's Fig saying, what's up, my dudes? What's up, Tony?
What's up, Tony? I saw your show earlier. I said you guys need a little bit more hair on that stream, but that's
I know, right?
Me.
A bunch of bald motherfuckers on that stream. Man.
I keep coming in and I'm like, I can't see anything. The lights. No.
All I see is a bunch of glare when I look at the screen. It's just a bunch of windows with glare in it. That's all I see. And then some mustaches. It's like a bunch of glare with mustaches. That's all it is on that show.
That's awesome.
That's it.
Is that it from the chat?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. So what I see here is that it just feels different with the independent creators, right? We can talk about the creator. You can talk to the creators. You can give them feedback, and they take it. I'll throw back to the Savage Crucible. People complain about the feet articulation and it not giving stability. They changed. They reacted, right? I'll look at the Valaverse, right? When they first came out with their first series and stuff, they were doing army builders without any guns or anything like that. And I think Articulated Ninja had posted a video where he was like, hey, Like, why aren't you coming with at least a weapon? Boom. You know what he's doing? Now he does weapons in those. So like those independent creators, they're listening. Because if they don't, they aren't going to compete. If they try to react the same way the big box guys do, the big brands do, they're not gonna make the headway that they've been making. The reason these independent creators are making the headway they're making is because they are reacting and interacting with the consumers. So like, you know, you see the feedback immediately in future waves, whereas you know, the bigger brands, you don't see that. I haven't either, Thanoscopter. I still have bags of empty feet that are just sitting there. That said,
I think it's also one of those things like being able to contact not just the creator, but like if you contact Hasbro, right, for customer service, you basically have to send an email in, tell them what your complaint is, and they're like, okay, send it in, right, and we'll replace your figure. I've heard of so many stories of these big guys sending out, you know, like you send in a Tunnel Rat for G.I. Joe, and they send you back a Blowtorch because Tunnel Rat's sold out, right? They don't have anything to give you, right? Mattel's done it too. I've heard Mattel doing it, right? Whereas like the Four Horsemen, Bud got Frankenstein's creature, I think it was, and it was well after it was already, you know, a couple months after he got the figure or something, and the foot broke, right? The ankle peg broke. It was basically Bud's, you know, Bud messing with it, probably hot or not hot enough, whatever, right? But he broke the foot. He emailed Four Horsemen. They just sent him a new leg or a new foot with the ankle peg and everything, right? Whatever it was that he needed. They just sent it to him, right? It wasn't, oh, well, we don't have any Frankensteins left. We can either wait till we get, you know, the redo for the retailers,
right,
or we can give you, you know, Anubis or something different, right? It's like, well, no, I don't want Anubis. I want a Frankenstein, right? It's like
right. Yep. No, I agree. And, you know, I think the connection that you have with them, the fact that you see those updates made in future waves, things like that, right? It brings back the soul to the hobby, right? It makes it more than just this corporate experience, right? And I think
that's it, right? Like, people feel like they belong with the brands, right? Like,
exactly.
I mean, most people that know me associate me with Monster Force, and I have no association with Monster Force whatsoever,
right?
Legally, right?
Yeah.
Other than I'm a huge fan. Like I said, the guy from the owner of Savage Crucible knew who you were, right?
Right.
He knew who Punk was because Punk tossed the figure when it fell over, right? So you remember that, right?
Right.
We're friends. I'm friends with Ken, you know, and Steve from Delta 17.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
You don't get that kind of personal relationship with Hasbro and Mattel, right? Now, Punk's talked to Lenny. You know, I follow Lenny online. I know people have talked to Emily, and they're fine. I don't know about people from Mattel. You know, maybe they're the same. If you can actually talk to them, they're not bad people. They just have a corporate. And we all deal with it with our jobs, right? I can't go out and say, you know, certain things about my work if my work doesn't approve that I can go out and say it, right? I can't go on Instagram and say, you know, oh, well, my new job, we're doing this and we're making these new things, and, you know, give out trade secrets and things like that I'm not supposed to do.
Right.
Hold on a second. Tony says, excuse me, I wear bald matte lotion on my head for when he does shows. And then he says, I can't speak for the other guys.
That's funny. That's awesome.
We love you, Tony. Like, bald head and all, we love you.
You're like going into that point, right? Like to that point though, right? Like sometime back, and I'm not going to name the manufacturer or the person because I don't want to give them credit, because I absolutely do, but I don't want people just kind of reaching out trying to get something. But I had broke a toy that was, you know, I probably waited a while to open it, and I was trying to do some part swaps and stuff, and I was an idiot and I didn't watch, you know, how to do it properly, and I was trying to pull apart from a different spot on the body, and I broke it and couldn't even buy that figure on the website, you know, or on the, you know, other e-tailers that had it. They just didn't have that one anymore, and I was like, oh, hey, is there any chance you got any more of these? And I was like, oh, I kind of broke it, and oh, you know what? I'll ship you out one tomorrow. Boom. A week later, I get a whole new figure in. Like, literally the whole new figure. I'm like, again, I would love to give credit there, and I appreciate it. I think that just goes to the fact that, you know, you never know what
look at your other incident that happened early this year when you got
I don't want to say that, but yeah.
Right? I mean, you don't get that with Hasbro, right?
Yeah, well, no, let's use that example. I'm not going to say exactly who, but let's say like you receive something or you receive more than what you're supposed to receive for an order, right? Super 7, was it Super 7
Yeah, it was Super
that
7.
came at you? And they were like,
Yeah.
we gave you too much. We sent you two,
Yeah,
whatever,
it was the
Teenage
Cat
Mutant Ninja Turtle
Slayer or
guns or...
something. Yeah,
Yeah.
something big.
Oh, yeah, that's what it was. It was some big, thing. But, I mean,
Yeah.
putting in perspective, my order was probably right around that same amount. Like,
Oh,
big
hell
picture.
yeah, dude.
Like,
Easily.
you know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
and it was like, that one's on us. Are you
Yep.
sure? Because, like, I'll send it back if you give me a label. Nah, that one's on us. And I'm like, that's awesome. I'm not going to complain there. But,
Yep.
like, like, I mean, I didn't resell them or anything. I kept that shit for myself because
Oh, yeah.
I'm giving you one, but like,
Yeah.
for me, it's just like, it's like my collection.
Oh,
but
it was
that's like, you
NECA.
don't get
It
that
was
from those.
NECA and the sewer layer. That's right.
That's what it was. That's what it was. Sorry, Super 7.
Yeah, sorry,
I
Super
just
7.
knew it was-
We'll trash you for
I knew it
something
was
else
one of
later.
them. Exactly. But like, kind of like the screen says, right? Like, there's millions of collectors worldwide, right? Like that are buying independent toys across all of these different lines.
Yeah.
There's since COVID ended, there's been record fans in attendance at these conventions. YouTube views in the millions across all sorts of different, toy line, reviewers and, plastic passion talkers like ourselves.
We'll promote. We'll do something good for Super 7. That's right, because Thanos got his cat's lair, and there's a hinge thing broken and something else, and they gave him a partial refund and sent him the parts that were broke so he could fix his cat lair.
Oh, I figured it wasn't broken, and that it was just like a statue, because they don't have really good articulation and they suck.
Well, this is the cat's
but hey,
lair. It was the cat's
Okay.
lair, so
Okay.
it was big enough to put some articulation in.
Gotcha. That said, we also recognize that there's massive support. It continues to grow, right? Like crowdfunding projects are huge. Like if you go back and look at the Four Horsemen one, maybe even look at the Valaverse one, that succeeded for the Action Force stuff, and then compare it to even like the Savage Crucible one, like, and even like the AWOC one, like you can see like those supports continued to rise over the years, and more money is being spent on these crowdfunding things than before.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying you should risk all your money on crowdfunding, because I have seen things fail. I have seen things not be produced. Not in the toy community, fortunately. Everything I've backed has come to fruition in those spaces, but there are other things like, AI camera doggy doors that never got delivered. I'm still watching you guys. But, there's a ton of money being spent there. Pre-orders, right? Tons of them. Monster Force, tons of stuff on pre-order, and then they're, opening up new things and announcing other things. And then fan-fueled communities like the Cabal, or, the Legions of Alaverse. Like, there's a ton of different, communities out there that folks are building and connecting with folks like themselves that enjoy it, whether it be on the YouTube and podcasts or like I said, the Facebook groups or Instagram groups. You have, action figure photography stuff that's, every day, Endless Fables, is always tagging and posting photos of the AWOC or Savage Crucible things, and there's communal things like Emerald Knight that kind of do the day-to-day, and they all do their collabs and stuff. So like there's these huge areas, and it's so connected. I'd ask you, Ed, do you see yourself buying more indie than mainstream next year? But I think I already know the answer to that.
Yeah,
I imagine.
I'm all in on, pretty much all in on Monster Force and Savage. I didn't jump in on the Lemurians. I'm getting the one from you, and I'm probably going to pick up another one at some point in time.
Yeah.
But moving forward, I won't say I'm all in on Savage, but that's going to be my fantasy line that I'm in, right?
Yeah.
Because I gotta, I love Four Horsemen and some of their stuff. I'll pick up, things here and there. Same with G.I. Joe, I'll pick up some cool figures here or there. But it's like, with all the cool stuff out there, like you gotta spend your money where your heart is, right? And it's like those two lines right there, the indie lines, are the where it's at for me right now. And of course,
absolutely.
Loose Collector coming out with Sasquatches,
Oh yeah, and those are the unique one-off things that you want from each different group. It's like 5K toys. Sometimes it's worth grabbing.
Yeah. What's up, Troy?
Hey Troy. So, like I said, if 2025 has shown us anything, it's that collectors are really, diving in on these. We saw it in 2024 and before, like we talked about. But what a big piece here is that big brands, they still matter. I still collect a ton of the WWE stuff. I got an entire cabinet stuff over here of the wrestling figures. That's all mainstream and big box stuff. But, at the end of the day, they still matter. But right now, indies are leading the hobby in so many ways. And what I mean by that is that not only are they creating something new with a taste of something old, but they're also... what was I going to say? I lost it as I started to say my phrase.
Man, squirrel.
Yeah, that's what happened. That's exactly.
I'll say this, right? Like, while you're thinking of what you're going to say, the stables are always going to be there, right? I mean, at least for the foreseeable future. People are still going to want to buy G.I. Joe. People are still going to want to buy Marvel Legends and wrestling, right? And like people like you and I, we have a nostalgia to it, but we also have sons, and maybe people have daughters that are into that too. So that kind of keeps us into those anyway, right? Even if we weren't, right? Like if I was like never buying a G.I. Joe, never buying a Marvel Legends for myself, my son still likes some of the Marvel Legends that come out, right? So it's like I'd still be buying some of those. So it's like, you walk into the toy department, just go into the store, and you see, a kick-ass Punisher or Spider-Man or whatever you're into. You're like, hell yeah, I'm going to buy that because it's $25. It's here on the shelf. I don't have to wait for it to come in the mail. I can just go home with the damn thing and enjoy it, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, and I still can't remember what I was going to say, but I was going to say there's a lot of cool things coming.
Yeah, Thanos says he's mostly indie at this point. Cherry pick some Motu still and pick up some Hasbro McFarlane at Ross and stuff. Yeah, and I mean that's the other thing, right? People are buying a lot of the mainstream stuff, but a lot of them are waiting to goes on to sale at Ross. Brick something, what's going on, my man?
Hey, Brick man, what's up?
But yeah, like I said, I don't think they're going anywhere, and there's nothing wrong with them. I love some of the stuff they come up with for G.I. Joe.
Yeah.
But when I look at what I can afford to spend every month or, every 2 weeks when I get a paycheck or whatever it is, it's like, okay, do I want to buy the Monster Force or the new Savage Crucible figure? Or do I want to spend it on a $25 G.I. Joe that I might be happy with for the moment? Whereas Savage Crucible, I'll probably take pictures with it all summer long, right? I mean, that's where my head goes is what am I going to do with it as far as photographs go? I mean, or, dioramas or whatever. I mean, that's where my head goes.
Roscon.
And like, Menhoza and I were just talking about this yesterday or earlier today, like the Monster Force figures, him and I both take pictures of Monster Force. Those figures are so good that when you take a picture of them, you can just set them there and they take the pictures themselves. I mean, that's right. And Savage Crucible is the same way, right? I haven't taken a Savage Crucible picture that's bad unless I shake the camera or something and it comes out blurry.
Right. Yeah. No, absolutely. And I think that's the key, right? Is have fun with your stuff. I mean, I'm heavily involved in the WWE mainstream stuff. I got sucked in heavy this year. I won't say heavy, but like I definitely have been enjoying wrestling a lot more with my boys every week and whatnot. And as a result, we've got the arena on the other side of over here that I built for my son. So he's got like, the entrance and the fans, and he's got the ring and all that stuff. So
Brick's just full of shit. Brick is just full of shit tonight. Look at this shit. Yeah. This guy. I'm all for the Mattel and Hasbro's. When's the last time you bought a Hasbro or Mattel figure, Brick?
Right. This guy takes vacations to go to, I think, Japan or whatever, just
Japan,
to get
right?
some,
just
to get some non-mainstream product, like non-US
he goes
mainstream.
Way off mainstream.
Right. So there's a lot of stuff coming. A lot of these toy companies I threw up here just as an opportunity to, you got Tyrell Corsairs, you got the Almighty Legends, Legendary, El Dragoon, Armies of Ashmore, you got the Legends of Ramen, Big Bad Workshop, you got Creative Beast Studios, Space Zombies from Mars, I think still kicking around there, planning for something at some point, hopefully. Yep. Realm Toys, which is your Brutal Realm, your Delta 17. There's this is just a subset of what's out there, the independent line. And I think what's cool is I don't think 2026 is going to under-deliver on this because we have some of these independent toy lines that have been coming up the last couple years, and from what I'm hearing, and again, I got to go back and check the Savage Crucible video, but from the Valaverse, the Savage Crucible, 2026 is not going to be a slow year. It's not going to be a it's not. I mean, I feel like 2025 may have been kind of a little lesser year for like Valaverse. I don't feel like there was anything crazy big popping this year that came out that was like
they had Wave 5
for them.
at the beginning of the year, so I mean that was pretty much it for them, right?
Yeah, but I feel like there was so much waiting for that. Like it was kind of like the kind of like, I don't know, the emotion, the excitement for it maybe kind of dried up quickly for that. But I'm not. It's not picking on them. I'm just saying they had like 2023, which was a huge year for them. 2024 was a really good year for them. 2025, not so much, right?
Yeah.
But 2026, from what they're saying, I expect to like relight a fire with the black and everything else they're planning. And then Savage Crucible, they've had a good little stretch each year with their Wave 1, 2, and now they're about to wrap up Wave 3, and they've had their fillers in, and they're already telling us we're going to get 7 other drops throughout the year. I think that's huge for people. Like, Four Horsemen's going to, have their dragon at some point in 2026 if everything lines up appropriately. So, like, big years from some of the bigger guys that have been building the last few years, and then you got all these other guys that are on their way up, right? Over, that are just going to continue to expand.
If you look at what Savage said, right? They got Wave 3 coming with, 3 figures that are basically like 6, 7 figures if you take all the accessories and build each individual character you can build out of them, right? I mean, Kublai Khan has 2, the one snake guy has 3, and the other snake guy has 3, so you're talking like, 8 different characters out of the 3. Then they talk about 7 drops at shows and possibly other ones, plus Elric and Death Dealer. So I mean that's huge. 4 Horsemen, like you just said, right? Rising Suns and the retailer exclusive wave.
The dragon at some point, right?
The dragon at some point, and then the Zolocon and ToyLeet exclusives, right?
Yep.
Huge numbers.
Animal Warriors of the Kingdom's got a shit ton supposed to drop this year. Like 2026 is going to be, excuse my words, it's going to be fucking huge for independent toys. Like it is going to be fucking huge this year. Like I don't curse too much on this show, but 2026 should be fucking huge for independent toys across those, just the ones that go back to my first slide of this where I showed the 6 guys, right? Like if we go back a couple slides here and we look at just these 6 guys, you got Monster Force gonna be dropping something, but like if you just look at the 3 in the left-hand column, Valaverse, Savage Crucible, 4 Horsemen, there's so much shit coming from them. Animal Wars of the Kingdom's supposed to have a bunch of shit coming out in 2026. Just those 4, massive. Monster Force has got stuff.
Well, if you take Monster Force and add in the other Big Bad Workshop stuff, you got Soldiers of
Right,
Force.
the other Big Bad
You got,
exactly.
the Fresh Monkeys. You got Crimson Moon. All of those things are supposed to be hitting in like January, February. Plus book 3 of Monster Force. I mean, that's huge.
Yeah, it's going to be freaking huge in 2020. 26 is going to be freaking awesome. I can't wait to talk about it.
You just reminded me of that car salesman. What the hell was that guy's name? It's going to
fucking
be huge, Buffalo. Huge.
Yeah. Oh, we used to have him down here in our area.
Yeah, he was all over West. He was all over New York.
Billy Frisillo, right?
Yeah.
Billy. Yep. He was. It was huge, but no, it's gonna be massive. And you look at these toys, the groups that are here. Some of them haven't delivered on Kickstarter. Some of them haven't succeeded at Kickstarter. Some of them have been trickling out things over the years. Big Bad Workshop thrown in there. You've got Almighty Legends supposed to be coming out next year with their partnership with the Bucks and stuff. Like just so much stuff coming in the near future that there's still a place for those mainstream guys, those big box toys, like the big brands and stuff, but there is a shit ton of really cool stuff coming. If you're not following it, you're missing out.
If you look at this list here, right? Look at the stuff you have coming out, just like as far as like genres go, right? Creative Beast Studios, you got the prehistoric animals, Ice Age type animals, totally.
And cyberzoic aspect to it.
Cyberzoic aspect to it, right? Dino Riders type of thing. You got Brutal Realm, which is, the
more fantasy,
barbarians, more fantasy stuff, right?
Yep.
But then you got Delta 17, 118th Military, right? Big Bad Workshop, they're doing all sorts of stuff. They got Cops, the Tick, Monkey Spy, all sorts of stuff, right? Corsairs, it's pirates, right? Almighty Legends, you got freaking, archangel
Biblical
characters.
type stuff, right?
Yeah. El Dragoon's all wrestling, like
Fucking
fantasy
wrestling.
wrestling, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's just crazy.
Luchadors.
I mean, Brick said it right here. That's where the innovation is, right? He said it right here.
Yeah.
That's where the innovation is, and that's what it is with the indies. I think over the other guys that are the big brands is that,
Yeah.
like you've said through this whole stream, it's they're able to take the risk and be innovative with their characters, with some of their designs, some of their articulation schemes, and they don't have to go and say, "Oh, can we get this approved?" And it has to go up through 7 layers of management to get to the right person.
Right, to find out, oh, it's $2 too much per piece or something.
It's
right?
like that movie. I think it was Ford versus Ferrari, or one of those movies with
I
Matt
haven't seen
Damon, where he walks into the office and the head honcho's like, blah blah blah, and his basic comment is about how the red folder for approval for this thing, right? He's like, it had to go through like 18 people just to get to you to get approved. He's like, what a waste, how inefficient is that, right? And that's what happens in these big corporations. Like I said, happens at my job. I'm sure it happens at your job. It happens at everybody that works for, any kind of business. There's always, red tape.
There's
But
processes.
how many
and
layers
you
of
need
red
some of
tape
it.
is
Yeah.
the difference, right? Because the main guys making decision are the actual owners. So it's real easy to say, yeah, that's great, or this is what I want, and the designer does it, as opposed to a guy down in a drafting room designing something, then having to send it up the chain for approval.
So I'm just looking for something because I want to. I'm going to show something on screen in a minute that I think is really cool. But that said, I think that carries us in, right? We're talking 2026. So let's talk about 2026. There's a couple weeks between now and then. Over those couple weeks, we will not be live streaming unless something freaking crazy comes up.
Yeah.
I do not see us live streaming. That said, we're going to enjoy the holiday break, take some time to enjoy our plastic and spend some time with our family. But we are coming back on the 6th in June. The 6th of January.
That will be
My
our
apologies.
Road to Joe Fest show, June 6th, when we'll be back.
No. We will be back on the sorry, my light's like spazzing over here. We will be here on the 6th of January back with another topic. Very happy with today's topic, but we want to wish everyone some good holidays, whatever holidays or non-holidays you celebrate. If it's just time with your family and friends, enjoy that. If it's just spending time playing with your toys, enjoy the hell out of that. But buckle up, guys, because 2026 for the independent toy lines is going to be freaking awesome. We are going to have a shit ton to talk about over the next year. That I am sure of.
Oh, yeah.
I know. I keep reminding my wife, hey, look, I haven't bought anything in a long time for myself. Anything that's coming in the mail has been long paid for years ago. I haven't bought anything major in 2025, so anything that comes in this year, in 2026,
You really haven't. You really have not spent that much money at all this year.
This year has been very, very conservative with the changes in work and whatnot.
Your biggest expense was probably the Savage Crucible twins, wasn't it? Which was
the dragon.
Well, you bought the dragon at the beginning of the year,
but I also sold my two G.I. Joe planes. Yeah, so I used that for that. But I really haven't done much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Legion's Con was probably my most expensive trip, my most expensive toy purchases this year. Everything else is pre-2025 spending. So I keep reminding her consistently, if there's a package that arrives and it has toys in it, I paid for it years ago. Yep. And that is to keep myself out of the doghouse. So 2026 is going to be an exciting year. We're going to have toy reviews. I'm almost done with the factory down here, so I'll be ramping up production on the Hexastack stuff. Big things happening there, making deals already in the background with multiple conventions, ones I may or may not be in attendance to myself, because the beginning portion of the year is going to be a little tough as my daughter has her senior year competitions, things like that. Up until June, it's going to be a little bit harder. Up until July, it's going to be a little bit harder for me to do any conventions on my own, but I am working with others to partner on getting my product into some of the larger conventions.
Once you're done with your office, you have to give us a walkthrough video of your wrestling.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, I'm gonna give a walkthrough of the entire thing. I'll do a multi one because I'll show like the command center. I will show the TV space. I will show the wall. I will show the photo booth. I will show the wrestling arena. I will show the factory on the other side. Yeah, there'll be multiple segments that we drop on the stream here to walk through the. I mean,
those will make some good shorts.
Oh yeah, for sure. But we got all that stuff coming, and one of the things I'm gonna pull myself up on full screen. But again, we'll be back. I may do like a quick little drop of what I've reviewed on the Savage Crucible stuff because I didn't do a good job on that as far as
little Savage Crucible news.
Yeah, just a news. But I wanted to pull this up on the screen here because I'm pretty proud of this. What this is determination of patent, term, extension, or adjustments. What that is, I'm official. Hexastack is patented, bitches. So I got that. I was pretty excited about that. I wanted to share that with you guys here. I just got notification in the mail. I mean, I knew it was coming. I knew I got the preliminary approval back in August, I think it was, when I was in Tennessee.
The Florida boys can't do nothing about it anymore, right?
It actually means the Florida boys might be receiving a cease and desist because I've already contacted legal counsel because they done dumb be stupid and they have continued to produce things and they actually started copying my design even more and some of the other accessories that I promoted during my Kickstarter, and it just shows that they that they might have stolen some ideas,
right. And
as a result, they may receive a cease and desist that demands that they provide me with all their customers' information, like they tried to send me, and they may need to send me their books for the last couple of years too, since this patent has been in action, patent pending since April, May of 2023.
Yeah.
And it's going to suck because like they're using injection molding and they're doing a whole lot of stuff. They're not just printing stuff right now, so. Yeah, it's going to get real fun and toxic up in that space. That's for sure. But, 2026 could be a big freaking year for a lot of different things.
Big year. It's going to be huge.
It's going to be huge. So, independent toys, independent creators, should be a fun year. So,
and again, everybody have a great holiday season, whatever it is you celebrate. Spend some time with your family. We're going to spend some time with ours, along with our plastic, and enjoy the, if you're into warm weather, enjoy it. It's been hovering around 0, and we're like ass deep in snow here in the great Western New York area. So if you're in California or Florida and you got some nice weather, go out and enjoy it.
Absolutely. And that said, appreciate you all. And stay wonderful. I'm kidding. I like to do this. I like to run it and then pull it back for a second.
Pull it back and say hi to Action Joe Figs real quick.
Oh, hey, Action Joe Figs. Hold up. Hey, Action Joe Figs. I don't know if you want to pull that up or not.
Yeah,
we appreciate you. Okay, cool. Now I'm just going to pull it up on me. Brick, go back and watch the whole show. We did some really cool content. I think it was fun and exciting. About what we talked about. Definitely go back and check out the main topic portion of it if you haven't, when you got nothing better to do. That said, for all the folks, we appreciate you. The shout out from the Crick this week was everyone, all 413 subscribers. We really appreciate you. If you enjoy what we're doing, how we're doing it, please remember to like, subscribe, and share. It's going to help us grow. We want that organic growth. We don't just want a bunch of people that are just clicking that button. We want people that enjoy the content. So please share it with someone you think may enjoy it. That said, stay wonderful. Enjoy the house.
ToyLeet crew, from Access Stacks to Toy Thember, yeah, we break through. Unbox the fire, showcase the find. Collectors worldwide, all one of a kind. ToyLeet, we set the pace, elite with the heat in the plastic race. ToyLeet, not just a name, we're the culture, the vibe, the collecting flame. Click, snap, pose, it's more than display. We stack with style, redefining play. Custom builds, epic drops, from stream to shelf, we never stop. ToyLeet, it's not just toys, it's legacy we stack. ToyLeet's the movement, and we're never looking back.